So, we've got some kudos, let's look at those. So this is one from Becca, a variety page for the Duluth News Tribune, and a very cool, just a striking picture for one thing, you know, the nice black and white, but then check out the way that she handled the type in the Mark Twain piece here. I'll zoom in a bit here, but talking about the typewriter and how it nearly drove him bonkers, and I like how she, you know, it's not only tilting off the line there, but it's a little bit bigger and everything. So nice work, Becca. I think that's really effective. And then we've got one for Pierce County. This was one of Tim's, and I believe this was one that Tim said, it's not so much that it was a great page, but I'm just astounded that I was able to get all of these photos, or everything on the page. So, so nice work, Tim. 15 photos with cut lines on the page. Very nice.
And the standard awkward small block of text that you have to include.
Yes,
Rarely
yes,
do
with
anything
the
helpful
tiny
with.
little intro text. Tim also loves those. Yes, nice. Yeah, every designer's dream, right there. Yep. So, but you made it work, Tim. So nice work. Here is one of Marcy's. If we can get that to load here for the forum.
Good white space.
I could, yes, nice white space. This is one food page for the forum. Really nice, striking photos, color in the photos, and she's got the headline is really nice and big. Definitely a big features headline there, and even tied in the life folio and date in up at the top there, so nicely done. I always do caution you guys, be careful about the colored fonts, especially reversed out of a dark photo or a dark block. Not all of those presses will hit those very well, especially on that smaller font. I didn't see this one in print, so I don't know how it worked, but be cautious on using a reversed colored type out of a dark box there. So, but nice looking page. This is a really striking page. This is one of Amy's, also for the forum, and a shopping page here, but not only did she create a nice modular looking design here with multiple photos, but I now see that she's got, you know, this was one image that she broke into, it looks like small photo boxes, which is really striking. So I like that quite a lot. Nicely done, Amy. And nice use of white space in it too. It really, with the larger, you know, we've got gutter width space between these photos, and then some extra white space along the sides. Really breathes nicely, so well done. Here we've got one of Tanner's for the Herald, and a front page here with some great color with dandy candy, nice big pink headline and pink text box to go along with it, and a great teaser photo, big photo at the top of the page as well. So really, I think that would be a great one on the racks, with the dandy candy headline and photo, and that Vikings photo along the top. I think that would really stand out on the rack. This is one of Brandon's for Duluth, and a really nicely done centerpiece. I like the use of the the way he differed the weights of the fonts in the centerpiece headline. Again, it's got some nice breathing room here along the sides, and then with that lighter font right through the middle, it just works really well. You know, you've got it works as just a celebration nation, but then when you read the entire headline, it works really nicely as well. So, well done, Brandon. This is one from Bob for the Brainerd Dispatch, and a great fire photo. Of course, we don't wish for fires, but they do create some really striking photos for our front pages. So it's really well played up here on the page, and then the rest of the page is well pulled together as well. We've got that centerpiece lead story here, and then we've got additional stories all down the side, or all filling out the rest of the other half of the page. So nicely done, Bob. This one is one from Mitchell that Angie did, and again, a nicely put together page. We've got art moving all the way down the page, drawing your eye all the way down. Great cutout up top for both the football player and the Black Friday image there. And then a lot of information. You know, if you imagine that fold, there's just a lot to bring you in on that paper above the fold. So well done, Angie. And here's one from Detroit Lakes. This is one that Cindy did. And this is one, especially a lot of we Daysiders have been seeing a lot of this story series. The Lakes group has been doing, the Lakes group did a series, it's called Bricks and Clicks, talking about the online retail versus bricks and mortar retail in their region. And so it's a multi-story series that several of the papers are running, and this is one portion of that series. So well done, Cindy. That really brings you in. I'm sure that region's readers are really enjoying this series. I'd kind of like to go in and read this one. So nicely done. Like I said, I know that there are a few more Kudos pages in my inbox that I did not get a chance to download and get into the system for this week, so I will try and do that so that we can see those. I don't know that we will meet next week unless Emma or Joe or Cole can take over the meeting for next Thursday. I will be in Duluth helping with the transition of Superior to into the hub. So like I said, we'll be taking on Superior next week. We are bringing on our new designer, Mary Cairns. I spoke with her for a little bit yesterday about some of the stuff that she's been doing and how we'll make this transition. I think I've said before, she's kind of almost a one-woman show. She doesn't produce stories and photos, but she's been doing the dummying, the layout, the design, putting in the classifieds, dealing with the obituaries, getting those on the pages, archiving the photos, updating the website. She can do it all, Mary. So she sounds like an amazing woman. I can't wait to meet her. So next week, all of the IMOP managers, those of us who are like the kind of the heads of our IMOP departments are all invading Duluth next week. We're flying out Wednesday morning and going to be there overnight, and and then we'll be there all day, Wednesday and Thursday. And Alicia will be learning everything she can from Mary about doing the layout of the paper, and then I'll be teaching her how to deal with page track and the style sheets and libraries and things like that we all use. So Daysiders, be prepared to probably be assigned some Superior pages next Thursday, Wednesday night or Thursday. And then we will, Mary will probably still do like the cover and jumps, but we'll ease her workload a little bit. She won't have to do the entire newspaper anymore. And we'll be learning Superior's tricks and quirks and stuff. We'll also be, Carol Seavey is going to help train some of their reporters and sports reporters on doing all of the formatting for us so that our scripts all work and things like that. So, so those of you who end up with some of those Superior pages, be sure to keep me and Emma especially notified of what problems we're running into. I'm sure there will be some. This is the first paper that we've taken on since I've been a hub manager. Hayden was in charge when we brought on our last paper, so it's been quite a while. So so this is all kind of new to me, so I'm sure we will find some bumps along the way, but we've got templates already prepared and libraries, and hopefully it'll go relatively smoothly.
What's the deadline on that paper again?
It's actually a twice a week paper, and it deadlines at 6:30 on Mondays and Thursdays. So it kind of falls into some of our slower times, which is really nice. Mary said she often has it done by 4:30, between 4:30 and 5:30 usually. So, you know, I wouldn't imagine it'll be super early that first go round. You know, those are always tricky, but hopefully we'll get them in and kind of get it figured out quickly and do a good job with it. So it helps when we all have a good idea of what needs to happen, and the editor, Katie Roman, is the one who is in charge of Lake County and Cloquet, so she has a good handle on how we work and how to budget and things like that. So we're kind of a couple of steps ahead of, I think, where we were usually when we were bringing on a newspaper. So I don't expect that it's going to be a terribly bumpy ride. We'll see. We'll get through it. We'll figure it out. We'll get the paper out somehow. So. Let's see, what else? One thing that I'd like to bring up is that I've noticed that a lot of folks are starting to get a little lax on being to work on time. We've got times that we expect you guys all to be in the office on the calendar. I would like to see you guys all checked in at those times, or I can see a number of people who come in here at the forum, but of course I can't see you personally for those of you who are not in the Fargo office. But a lot of times, we are counting on you guys to be in the office and ready to work at the time that we have you marked on the calendar. So if you're gonna be late, please let us know. Shoot your manager a text, or if it's morning and your manager works nights, shoot Emma or I a text or an email and just say, hey, I'm running late. For morning folks, we sometimes have those morning pages that need to be kicked out quickly, and if you're in half an hour late and you lose that half hour of work time, it can affect deadlines. Afternoon people, especially those of you who might work on Grand Forks, that's got that early 6:30 deadline, that can affect your work time too. And even for those of you who have later deadlines at night, sometimes, we've got, pages that deadline at 3 or 4 or 5, and we could use the help from you guys, with those early in your shift, late in our shift, pages. So please be attentive to your schedules. If you are regularly not making those times, if because of your workflow that you need to adjust your schedule, please talk with your your team leader, because maybe we just need to shift your schedule and we can have that conversation. But if you're regularly late, you know, I probably will be having a talk with you and you may be reprimanded or written up for it, so I'd rather not do that. Emma, you had some, reminders as well and some updates on some stuff. Do you wanna join in and tell everybody about those?
Yep. Kind of breeze through them. As you all noticed, when you should have noticed by now, I hope you updated or restarted your computer within the last couple of days. I went through and updated some weird things that were in our FCC Universal Library. This kind of goes hand in hand with that email that Erin sent out asking you guys to send us anything that you find that you are using very frequently. You know, maybe that we can get it added so all of the designers can use it. I am going through those emails as I get them, and as you know, Erin forwards them to me, and we'll keep trying to update that as we get them. But I have not dove into adding them yet to the FCC Universal Library yet, but I did want to just note that the things that I did update were things like the photo box, which I think is an important one. I did a space inside the text box along the top, so there is now no need to have any space between the text box for the cut line and the photo box itself. You can just run the photo box and the cut line box, text box right up to each other, and there's already the inset text wrap on the inside of the cut line text box. So that's more universal across all of the papers that we use. I also applied that to the standalone photo box. A couple other things in there just had odd text wraps that I just found and fixed. I mean, there's nothing I really need to point out besides the two photo boxes. In the Rivertown library, just a reminder that we need to be using the correct folios for that group. I updated the library item for that, so both the large and the small are in under the Rivertown's library, so those are easier accessed if there's not something on the page, as well as updating the face fillers that they have in there, so be sure to check out that library. There's a couple of new things in there. One thing I wanted to note, I know it's very hard to remember with all the papers that we do, with the obit pages, the Rivertown group does have obit fillers, and they would rather those be used and cut to fit into the space you have versus using a plug ad. So try to remember to use those obit fillers. There's a large and a small under the Rivertown group library. Another thing I wanted to touch base on, these are more so notes, not library related. I had a couple of questions arise about the paid content that is placed in the Rivertown group, like the paid business briefs, the paid political letters, endorsement letters, whatever you want to call them. There is some confusion on whether or not to run a standing head over them or if they just need the tagline. The main thing is that they have the paid content tagline underneath them. If you have room for the standing header for the business brief, put it on there. Otherwise, the paid political letters is the only one that needs to have that standing head that either says paid political letters or endorsement letters. That is noted on their budget. I asked the editors to make sure that is on their budget, so to kind of clear that up for a couple people. And then the last note, I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm getting looked at here in the office. The last note I have here is a couple of errors have arose in papers that I found to be related to designers thinking that notes maybe are old. If anything looks old or it's crossed off and you're not 100% sure if it's related to the date that you're working on, let's try to be better and ask about it versus assuming that, oh, those are just old notes or that's just a standing note that's on the budget all the time. I don't need to ask about that. I would rather us just ask, then we know. Maybe the editor doesn't even realize that it's on their standing budget and that needs to be updated. I just think that we can be more proactive about it and ask versus assuming that something is just an old note.
Yeah, some of our editors are not great about cleaning up their budgets. I think we all know that. Some of them just start adding things to last week's budget before they've cleared the old stuff off, and it's just, it can really be hard to look at. But yeah, make sure that if you have any questions about whether it's an old note or if something's crossed off that you did not cross off, ask about it so that we don't end up with something duplicated or omitted that we were supposed to get in too. So, let's see, there's something else about the folios. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, like the river towns and.
Oh,
and
I remember it now.
What's that?
It was the, on each of the pages, if you're not familiar with how pages are made in the layout center, you wouldn't know, but if you ever move your folio on and off the page, it's a little code that is set up in the InDesign file in the folio that says date. When you pull it off the page, it's whatever the code name is, but whenever you place it on the page, it applies the date that was set up in the InDesign file to it. I updated that in the folios in the library. So whenever you place it on there, you don't have to. You should not have to type in the date yourself. It should just already be fill in itself automatically because layout sets the date in the InDesign file when they make the pages. So if that does not work for anybody, please let me know, but that should be all set up and ready to go in all the folios that we have in our library that you drag on the page.
Yeah, and the other things are, a lot of our papers have the, like the forum has the folios with the lines that are all vertical under our folio lines, and that's kind of how most of the hub papers were set up initially. But the Duluth group and the Rivers Towns group moved away from those and just have the single hairline. A lot of the other smaller ones have those single hairlines as well. So just make sure that you're using the right folio. Like Emma said, she put the one that's right for River Towns in that River Towns library. Another thing that I've run across a couple of times is once in a while, for some reason, when layout is setting up the pages, we end up with a like an inside page instead of a cover. Like the inside template is used instead of a cover template. So we end up with that small folio instead of a large folio. There is almost never a time when you're going to use a small folio on a cover. So if it's the first page of a section, it should have that large folio. The only one that I can think of is that I believe Mitchell's Saturday C page has the tiny folio, which is awkward looking, but
Brainerd Opinion has a small folio too.
But I'm just saying, like the first page of like a section,
They put a lot of ads on their cover.
They do, yes. That Mitchell C1 has a high ad stack, but it has the tiny folio even though it's C1, so it's a little bit goofy looking. But yeah, again, most of our.
I had Joe ask one time on the Brainerd Opinion. He's like, "That should have a large folio." I'm like, "No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a small folio."
you know, most of our, those kind of standalone pages do have those larger folios, like opinion or business, a lot of times will. Even entertainment pages that fall within a section a lot of times do. So if you have any questions, be sure to look back in Olive or ask that editor and make sure, so, because once in a while they slip through, I know, and I think
Yep.
Angela had that in Park
Yep.
Rapids this week, where they had put an inside sports template on B1, so she got the small folio instead of the large one, so, again, look back in Olive, usually that'll set you straight, if not, ask that editor and take a look, so.
So what it,
Go
go ahead,
I'll
sorry.
say, West Fargo, like, if you ever do like the back page of the sports, that's actually a cover.
Yes, yeah,
So-
we've got a few of those where, like,
But sometimes, yeah,
West
there's been a
Fargo
few times.
Pioneer, yeah, where it's a back cover,
Yeah.
so you're going backwards into the section.
Sometimes I've seen them small and the inside have a large folio.
Oh,
Outdoors for,
sure.
Grand Forks.
Yep, Outdoors for Grand Forks is the same way. Opinion for the Sunday, Duluth paper is also a back cover that goes backwards into the section, so yeah, there are some quirky things in our newspapers, you know, and so really, you know, just try and keep an eye on it. We do the best that we can, but sometimes we've got some things working against us, but if something looks goofy, you know, ask about it, so. Other than that, I don't think I have much more. Great job on getting ready for Thanksgiving. I mean, you guys were just total powerhouses, getting the pages out, you know, in advance of the holiday, and then on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, you know, there were so many of you who are Nightsiders who came in far earlier than you normally do. When I get to say good morning to the Nightsiders, that doesn't quite seem right, so thank you to those of you who normally get to sleep in a lot later. Thank you all for coming in early to get those pages out. I didn't hear any complaints, I don't think, about Thanksgiving newspapers, so I don't always hear kudos from editors, you know, we do get some, but when we don't hear complaints, I take that as a good sign. So nice work to all of you. Thank you very much for all of the hard work you guys put in last week. It was a lot, so nice job, so. And we've got a couple more holidays coming up. I am desperately trying to get all of the editors to get my deadlines in so that we can set you guys' schedules. I know that all of you, and I told these editors, I said, our people would like to know when they will have time off around the holidays, so can you please get us deadlines? So I had set a deadline for them for 5 o'clock yesterday, so still waiting on a lot. A lot of housing. So,
Sounds about right.
and I think a lot of them are trying to get their information from their presses and stuff, so hopefully within the next week we will have all of those so that we can let you guys all know what we're expecting you guys to work. So it's weird with Christmas on a Tuesday, so it's gonna be a kind of a goofy time over the holidays, so but we always get through it. So thank you all, have a good evening. I'm off tomorrow, so Emma and Joe and Cole will be taking care of things tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday, so have a good weekend. Thank you all.